Welcome to this special Northampton Town Millennium Promotion video and the best of the current season so far. August 1999 is where our story begins, away at Macclesfield. First match of the season with optimism high and two new names in the lineup, although Darren Byfield missed the game through illness and Keith Welsh through injury. But Macclesfield scored the only goal of the game. Striker Steve Howard had been searching long for his first goal for the Cobblers, having arrived 6 months earlier in a record £90,000 deal from Hartlepool. When it arrived in his 18th game, it was special and crucial. You could say the perfect set piece. Right-sided corner. Bullet header. 1-0. In the end, it was to prove the match-winning effort, although Darren Byfield went agonisingly close to making it doubly certain. And the visitors too had their moments. Only the woodwork denying them an unlikely point. And so to October. The pressure had been building on boss Ian Atkins. At the start of October, the visit of Rochdale. The Cobblers had lost against both Barnet and Rotherham. They dropped to 12th place in the table. And for Atkins, who'd been manager since 1995, this was to be the final game in charge. Dale, who always threatened to be in the promotion shake-up in the third division, without ever quite lasting the season, created a number of chances. And having gone near on several occasions, they finally capitalised on hesitancy in the Cobblers' defence. It was the end for Atkins. He left the club days later. And the two Kevin's first match in charge was an eventful one against Torquay, with Kevin Wilson in temporary charge with Kevin Broadhurst as his number two. Torquay by the end of the match were reduced to 8 men. It had Brian Healy sent off in the 17th minute, and Robbie Herrera and also Lee Russell went later on. John Frayne amongst the scorers on what turned out to be an excellent day for Northampton. A day when the headlines were made, perhaps for the wrong reasons, not for the quality of the Northampton performance, but for what went on against them. A quality finish in anybody's book. Into the second half, and more pressure coming from Northampton. They sensed this game was theirs for the taking. Second goal from substitute Tony Battersby, on loan from Lincoln City. This a day too that Northern Ireland youth striker Andy Morrow made his first team debut as a late substitute. But the goals started to rain as Torquay started to lose their men. A third goal before the end. It was convincing. Cheltenham Town's visit in the middle of November had by this stage seen Kevin Wilson and Kevin Broadhurst confirmed in their jobs. The match was played on a Friday night to avoid a clash with the England Euro 2000 playoff the next day. It was a splendid match. Chances at both ends. Neil Grayson, former Cobblers striker, in the Cheltenham lineup. And those who had to catch the early bus missed a dramatic finale. Cross from the left. And the ball headed in. that was by no means the end of it. Again, pressure by Northampton, and Cheltenham's defence parted at the seams. The Cobblers ahead by 2-1. But Cheltenham were made of stern stuff. Another set piece, and 2-2. Grayson, the man that got it. And just as it looked as though it was going to finish all square, it was time for Darrell Clare, on loan from Grimsby, to seal the perfect story. Good contest for those who watched it. The points for Northampton, and in style. And so to late November, a month that was to end with 4 wins and a draw, and the Manager of the Month award in his first month in full charge for Kevin Wilson. A 2-1 win at Exeter on the Tuesday, and then a trip to Brighton. The Cobblers given the chance of the lead from the penalty spot. Barry Knight, the referee, had no doubt at all. And at the Withdean Stadium, Carlo Corazin had the opportunity to put Northampton into the lead. He duly did so. Victory in this match would put Northampton into 5th place. But Brighton too were fighting with promotion very much on their minds. And they scored an excellent equaliser through Warren Aspinall. But what followed was to prove how strong and determined this Northampton Town side were becoming as the season developed. Ball down the right, and it was that man Clare who restored the Cobblers' advantage. Lovely piece of skill. Brighton looked for the flag, which never materialised, and Clare did the rest. And before the end, 2-1 became 3-1. Convincing performance, and what pleased Kevin particularly was they were doing it on the road. Brighton 1, Northampton 3, 5th place assured. And the goals were starting to flow from many different directions. And so to the new year, and the return of former manager Ian Atkins in charge of Chester City. And the men from the Diva Stadium getting a good start. There was a great feeling of anticipation about this match. The only thing Northampton were anticipating was 3 points. First, there was Howard. Equaliser into the bottom corner. Pendulum swinging Northampton's way. It's worth another look. The power in the shot, the placing perfect. Goalkeeper, no chance. 1-1 at half-time, and into the second period. Ian Sanson, right-footed and powerful. Northampton weren't done either. They rubbed salt into their former manager's wound with that finish by Canadian Carlo. Corazin made it 3-1. We move into February and the visit of the Minster men of York City to Sixfields, and the business as usual signs hoisted. First, Ian Sanson. First of 3 successive home wins without conceding a goal, this turned out to be. And in the second half came the goals that were to settle the match very much in Northampton's favour. Cross from the right, all sorts of trouble in the York defence. And although both Howard and Hunter might try and claim it, it went down as an own goal. But at this stage of the season, with the promotion race starting to hot up, They all count. Just ask Sean Parrish. He's in the right place at the right time to make it 3. A very good victory. The Cobblers running into form at the right time. Lovely control. Volley finish. And so to the return match against Brighton. The chance to register a double after that 3-1 success at the Withdean. And Ian Sanson's 6th goal of the season from central defence. Just what the doctor ordered. A sense of déjà vu, perhaps. Corner from the near post. He out-jumped the lot of them. Brighton a goal down. But Northampton had to defend as well. And when required, this match also showed that Keith Welsh was as good as any. A superb save from Paul Brooker to keep the Cobblers in front, and in the end, give them 3 priceless points. One of Welsh's moments of magic of the season. And so, to West Wales. Live television coverage. And for the moment, Watkin put Swansea ahead. You got a feeling this wasn't going to be Northampton's night. 1-0 at the break. And the Swans cut loose with some venom. It was some match new signing John Hodge chose to make his debut after his midweek £25,000 signing. Carlo Corazin got 1 back for Northampton Town with an excellent goal. The knockdown and a well-controlled left-footed effort past the Swansea goalkeeper. But with Ian Hendon collecting a red card, the first against a Northampton player all season, Swansea cut loose with some outstanding finishing. It was one of those nights, although it was an awfully long way home after this defeat. 4-1 the full-time score. The question, could Northampton learn the lesson for the final promotion push? By the time Halifax arrived at Sixfields in early April, Jamie Forrester had arrived on loan from FC Utrecht for the rest of the season. He'd made his debut in the 2-1 defeat at Cheltenham and scored his first goal in a 2-0 win against Southend. But Halifax taking the lead only served, or so it seemed, to spark the Cobblers. Forrester involved along with Frain in this move. And Dave Savage on the end of it. Excellent move. Defence splitting ball back. And Savage did the rest. This was a real seesaw battle. Eventful and thoroughly entertaining for the neutral, and probably heart-stopping for the 2 managers. 2 of the new Northampton men, Hodge and Forrester, involved in this one. Forrester on the end of it. Good cross. Carlo Corazin jumps. Jamie Forrester scores. But there were holes appearing at the other end as well. Free kick from the right. And Halifax back on level terms. So Northampton had to do it all again in search of victory. And with goals like that, is it any wonder why Wilson was so keen to get his man? Forrester scoring 3 goals to 2. Northampton ahead. At slow motion, the skill and the poise of the finish looks even better. Take aim, fire. And Northampton had been twice ahead in the match, but it wasn't to be enough. First, Halifax equalising. A man over as the Northampton defence parted at the seams. And just as it seemed there would be some reward, Steve Kerrigan nipped between the two centre-halves. The points were going to West Yorkshire. A real shock. Northampton had led twice, and it wasn't enough. So to one of the key matches in the run-in. Darlington, another side fighting for the third promotion slot, and Stephen Howard giving the Cobblers the perfect start inside the first 10 minutes. The Cobblers had won with a Jamie Forrester goal at Carlisle the previous Tuesday, and Howard's goal put them in front. But Darlington, who were without Marco Gabbiadini, who had destroyed Northampton in the meeting at Sixfields, Gabbiadini was suspended, came charging back. But whenever needed, Keith Welsh was equal to the challenge. Looks just as good in slow motion. On a desperate surface, Northampton had the chance to double their lead. Cross from the left. Jamie Forrester. Just over the top. One, though, was enough. The last home game of the season, unless the playoffs were to beckon, was against Mansfield Town. The club declared it Claret Day. Fans encouraged to come dressed in claret, and a fifth straight win secured by this from Dave Savage. What it meant with Darlington's late equaliser at Carlisle meant that the Cobblers needed to equal Darlington's result on the last day of the season for automatic promotion. The win made it 10 wins and 1 defeat in 11 games at Sixfields, and that, by anybody's standards, was promotion form. And so, to the final act of an unforgettable campaign. More than 3,500 Cobblers supporters in South Devon for the match at Torquay. They had to match Darlington's result, but they were given a rude shock when Tony Beddoe put the Devon side in front. But Northampton kept their heads. Sampson's throw, and in the end it fell nicely with the aid of the Torquay defence for a ball in to Jamie Forrester. 1-1 the score. Had the pendulum swung Northampton's way. Controlled it well. The man from Utrecht had levelled the score. As the minutes ticked by, anxious news of Darlington was awaited. But Northampton had the chance to do it themselves. They had to win the game. And the second goal from Steve Howard. It took the stuffing out of Torquay. Although there were still minutes to play, it was time to think about how the supporters were going to celebrate on the English Riviera. The final few minutes, though, absolute agony. By this stage, one goal against could have ruined an entire season. The referee looked and looked again at his watch before finally ending it all. Those final few seconds seemed like an eternity. Some people were on the pitch. They thought it was over. It was. Northampton Town had won promotion back to the Nationwide League Division 2. The statistics never lie in these circumstances. And the league table tells its own story. Swansea had won it, Rotherham in second, and the Cobblers, with those final 3 points, had secured third spot in Kevin Wilson's first season.
Kevin, the club were mid-table when you took over your first managerial job, initially on a caretaker basis last October. Was automatic promotion a realistic target then?
I think the target was that we started to show what we were capable of. We had very good players here. The season hadn't started particularly well, and it was just important to get the players going and starting to believe in themselves. Yeah, of course, I did set a target that if we were going to get promotion, we were going to get 4 points from every 2 games, which is, realistically a promotion target.
Okay, you had a great start in November, your first month in sole charge, a Manager of the Month award, and the month ended with 2 back-to-back away wins at Exeter and Brighton. Do you think that really kick-started the promotion bid? I think they were great results. Everybody showed that we'd really knuckled down as a team, and we were working very hard for each other. So it was great. It was a real team effort. Everybody was part of it, and that went right through the team, from the players and the management, and also the supporters, and everybody connected with the football club. December was not an easy month for you, really. 1 or 2 injuries in and around Christmas time, with the likes of Corers in Clare, Howard and Howie missing at various points. Did you begin to have doubts about the size of your squad?
Yeah, well, you do, but it does give you a chance to have a look at other people and see, what they're capable of. At that time as well, we did bring, start to use the loan players, and they really came in and did extremely well. So, all credit was due to everybody. They really knuckled in and worked very hard for each other when we were down to the bare bones.
Into January then, into the new year, and goal number 199 for a youngster called Kevin Wilson. I think it was at that time the home form really started to pick up with that win over Shrewsbury, wasn't it?
Yeah, Shrewsbury were struggling at the time, and as you say, I was pushed into a makeshift striker's role to fill in, and we came out convincing winners 3-0, and it was then that you saw that there was a little bit more of a belief at home that we were going to go and grind out results even if we weren't playing well, or we were going to really demoralise team by the football we were playing.
February was a good month as well. 3 games here, 3 wins, no goals conceded. Do you think that's really the month, as we moved up to 5th, that maybe the crowd started to expect promotion?
I think everybody was starting to believe that we had a chance of getting promotion, and that was the supporters and the players. You seemed to feel that we were a team that were gaining confidence and gaining in our belief that we could get at least into the playoffs and possibly a promotion spot.
Not the best of starts in April, defeats at Plymouth and at home to Halifax. Was that Halifax game the turning point for the season?
I think when you look back at it, we went to Plymouth and we played exceptionally well. We missed a lot of chances on the day, and we never came away with anything. The Halifax game was the kick that we needed, and it really kick-started our season to the stage where we changed to a 3 at the back and made it very difficult for teams to break us down, and making sure that we went and put our chances away.
On to the final day then, promotion at Torquay. Everyone's got their own fond memories of that day. What are your memories?
The memory is really the whole down the hole, going to the game and seeing it from a different perspective, most probably. As used to be the player and always involved in everything, and the manager. I was able to sit back and see the joy and the excitement it meant to people. The supporters' faces and the players and what a thrill and enjoyment. Something that I achieved as a player myself. So it was nice to be able to sit back and really enjoy something that we've achieved. It was something that I'd like to thank everybody for, because everybody played a major part in it, and that was right from the directors who give me the support and give me the job. Kevin Broadhurst for his support and his work behind the scenes. You know, Russell Slade, for the short time he was here, the help and support he gave me, along with Paul Curtis, Dennis Casey. You know, there's so many to mention, but everybody was there to lend a hand. But you know, it was a day that will stick with me for a long time, because you know, it's virtually 7 months from the time I took the job and we promoted Division 2.
That said it.
It certainly was a short summer. A summer full of excitement as new players arrived. Jamie Forrester completing his permanent move for a club record £150,000 from Utrecht. Chris Hargreaves arriving from Plymouth. And plenty of people at the club's press day wanting words of wisdom from the boss and from another new signing, Marco Gabbiadini. So there was still one unfinished item of business. Promotion, but no medals. That was to be rectified pre-season as the players look forward to the campaign. A pre-season match with Graham Taylor's Watford was the opportunity to put things right and make it official, as Kevin and the players received formal acknowledgement of their fantastic Millennium season. The action started for real just a few days later with Brentford's visit to Sixfields. Plenty of interest in any first game of the season, particularly with the new players involved. And Marco Gabbiadini serving one up for Jamie Forrester was well saved by the Brentford keeper. Then the inevitable breakthrough into the second half, and Jamie Forrester repaying the first slice of that club record transfer fee with a really splendid finish. Northampton ahead by 1-0. First contender for Cobbler's goal of the season, 2000-2001. Keith Welsh hadn't got too many headlines during the summer, but he'd obviously summered well. An excellent stop to deny Lloyd Owusu. And then there was more. Opportunity for Frayne. Well tipped over. Struck it very cleanly from distance. Maybe it took a slight deflection, but the keeper equal to the challenge. But one wasn't to turn out to be enough. From this set play, the Cobblers' defence still having their second Division L plates up, and Brentford had equalised. It was to finish 1-1. First away day, Adams Park, Wickham against Laurie Sanchez men. Penalty to Wickham on an afternoon when Northampton had no luck at all. Dave Savage limped off with a knee injury. Club captain Ian Sampson broke a bone in his hand but played for the full 90 minutes. And former Cobbler turned chairboy Steve Brown settled it. After just 2 matches in the league, it switched to the Cup, the spotlight, a nationwide TV audience, and no one enjoys thrilling them more than Marco Gabbiadini. 1 goal, a splendid strike, and big spending Fulham put to the sword at Sixfield Stadium. Great goal. Old Head finishes well. 1-0 Northampton. And now maybe Gabbiadini forcing the Reading defence to go wide. Gabbiadini! Knows what that goal is, of course, having scored against the men from Craven Cottage in that very same net. Frayne. Gabbiadini's giving him one option. Here he is. Target is Howard. Forrester! And the headlock is broken. And it's a really good move as well. Gabbiadini, the first man in, The ball across for Howard. And Howard's way was to knock that down for Forrester. Reading had come rather more into it. This is Rouchier. And a very good save by Welsh. Did what he had to and did it well. Howard. Forrester. That's nice. That's very nice. And that's 2-0. And again, the Howard knockdown was crucial. Forrester gets the ball between the two defenders. That's wonderful skill and a very good finish. And just 2 days later, the long trip to Gig Lane, when sadly once again the talk was of injuries. Chris Hargreaves sat this one out with a thigh problem, replaced by Duncan Spedding. And although he played the whole match, Richard Hope picked up a thigh injury that kept him out until November. Unfortunately, Northampton couldn't keep Berry out, and one goal condemned them to defeat. And so to unfinished cup business against Fulham. Marco Gabbiadini's goal in the bank from the first leg, and the second leg at Craven Cottage, starting in quite sensational style. Ian Sanson, the man who put Fulham 1 down and put the Cobblers 2 up on aggregate. Fulham, the big spenders, unbeaten apart from that blip at Northampton, and the Cobblers deserved their early advantage. Then controversy. The referee still speaking to the Northampton wall, and no whistle when Sean Davis puts the ball in the back of the net. The referee allows the goal to Kevin Wilson's fury. Into the second half, and Fulham, realising they had a fight on their hands and still trailing on aggregate, up the tempo. It wasn't a happy 45 minutes for Northampton. First, the aggregate levelled, and then the man who cut defences asunder in the league during his early weeks, Louis Saha, took over. A 5-man move, Saha into the bottom corner. Fulham ahead 3-1, and more significantly ahead on aggregate. And it even then wasn't over. Saha combined with Boamorta. Saha's finish, if you were a neutral, you would say delightful. For Northampton fans, it was heartbreaking.
Once again, Liam George coming over to get an aerial jump on this, but Dryden gets the header, and it goes wide to Frayne, John Frayne on the left-hand side. Chips the ball forward for Howard. Howard gets the header on to Forrester. Forrester left unmarked. Is there, and he's shot, and he's in! Well, Jamie Forrester was left unmarked. Through the legs of Julian Watts, bottom corner in off the post, Nathan Abbey no chance. And Northampton take the lead after 37 minutes. And it's chipped forward there for Forrester to run onto. He's onside. Jamie Forrester inside the Luton half. Cuts back inside, gets a cross in. It's out wide to Steve Had, and he scores!
Certainly a positive performance by Northampton so far. Forrester testing the Millwall defence. Their record signing. taking his free kick. It's a good stop, it might still come, and he's made another good save, this time from Joe Dolan. Hendon. Gabbiadini. Sampson's gone forward. Gabbiadini! It's Northampton's goal! And Ian Sanson, the club captain, playing a crucial part in this. An awful long way forward, but Gabbiadini withstood the pressure, and Northampton ahead. And the referee's given the free kick. Northampton trying to find a way round. And Hunt! Very well struck. Good cross again. Northampton's pressure, the need to try and find a breakthrough. This is Hargreaves this time, and Howard did well to get his foot to it, just didn't quite manage to get it down far enough. Kevin Rapley has gone for the return and made it as well. Good save by Welsh, and again. Gabbiadini. Hodge outside him. Waits now. Can he deliver? Howard! 1-0! And at last the quality cross brings the quality finish. John Hodge from the right. And Steve Howard does the rest. 7 days after, another long trip to the JJB Stadium, home of Wigan Athletic, one of the favourites for promotion. And Wigan really testing the Cobblers' resolve from the off. They pulled men back, but it wasn't enough. Good piece of skill from Simon Howarth. And Athletic ahead by a 1-0. Hampton showing the battling and fighting qualities. Suddenly found themselves on level terms. Referee Robinson ruled the pushing and shoving a penalty. Against the chorus of boos, up stepped Ian Hendon. 1-1. Was an open game with plenty of chances. Northampton had to defend well. For long periods they did so. Another screaming effort, going agonisingly close for Wigan, who did get a second goal. Real quality from Andy Little, making it 2-1. Into the second half, and Northampton creating chances themselves. First just wide from John Hodge. Was a good ball in, and Hodge doing well, but just the wrong side of the post. Another opportunity, and this time another good strike, and another membership of the Nearly Club for James Hunt. So, the Division 2 table showed the Cobblers with 13 points in 11th place. And next, a home game against Wrexham. The worst possible start. Two goals down inside 18 minutes to the men from North Wales. And here's the second one. Those of sensitive viewing habits might look away momentarily as Wrexham stretch their advantage. But Northampton had shown their battling qualities before. Sampson desperately close with that header, and Steve Howard's header enough to give them one back. In what was to turn out to be Ian Hendon's last game before his move to Sheffield Wednesday, there was drama at the end. The clock showed 87 minutes. Northampton still 2-1 down and still smarting from that disastrous start. Jamie Forrester from Marco Gabbiadini, the substitutes, knocked down. Level at 2 each. Forrester left it late. It was a priceless point, and after a 2-week break to Bristol Rovers, commentary from Jed Pittman.
Gabbiadini. Nicely played through. A Savage is through here. Foster is trying to prevent him. It's still Savage, and still, and he's missed it. Well, he did everything right. I guess so. He turned inside and out that many times. He probably made himself dizzy by the time he had the shot. Instead it comes to Rovers and Astavievs and Allsop and Evans and now Plummer! Well charged down by Savage. Plummer again though, as Rovers quickly got it back. Bignett. Here's Plummer again! This time it's Sampson and Plummer once more. 3 chances for the same player in the space of, what, about 15 seconds. Looking for Gabbiadini. Runs into a cul-de-sac in the form of a Latvian. Not sure what the Latvian for a cul-de-sac is. Throw in to be taken by Gary Hughes. He's going to go for the long one again. And it's headed in. I'm trying to see who's claimed it. I think it's Forrester who's got his arms up, and Northampton lead by a goal to nil. Well, they've tried the long throw throughout the afternoon. It never really looked a threat, but suddenly, with time on the latter stages of the game, Forrester's got on the end of it. Out forward by Savage. Forrester. But no one in support at all. Gabbiadini's behind him. Here is Gabbiadini. And that's a really good save from Nicky Culkin. And although Northampton have looked perhaps the more dangerous of the two sides going forward, that really is the first time that Nicky Culkin has been forced into a save this afternoon. When you compare that with 3 or 4 good saves at the other end.
And another trip followed the following Tuesday evening to Port Vale. This was a good game if you were a neutral, but once again, what the managers thought of it is a matter between them and their blood pressure. Jamie Forrester gave Northampton the lead. Once again, reason why the Cobblers broke their transfer record to sign him from Utrecht. Within 6 minutes, the men from the Potteries on level terms from this free kick. Defenders not picking out their men and being made to pay for it. But before half-time, Northampton had restored their advantage. Another good move. And how about this from Marco Gabbiadini? That's what they brought him south to do. Northampton back in front. And a goal of real quality. Taking the responsibility. The goalkeeper could do nothing. Into the second half, Vale inevitably came out steaming. The kitchen sink was expected in the Northampton box before the end of the game. But after 61 minutes, something more precious than that arrived in the shape of an equaliser for Vale. A hard-won point in a 2-2 draw. Ian Sampson chalked up 300 appearances for Northampton in the match against Oldham Athletic. And Northampton in front, you guessed it, that man Forrester again. From a corner. And the little man showing once again that he has few peers when it comes to being in the right place at the right time. One 0 at half-time and into the second half. Again a Northampton break. Again the pressure. And a good save to deny an opportunity for a second goal. An Oldham attack was a rarity, but this is an unfortunate moment that the Richard Green fan club will not wish to see again. Kevin Wilson joked afterwards about it, but he really did smile as the points were secured. The block, another opportunity with Chris Hargreaves for Howard right the way in, and the final ball, one of real quality from Gary Hughes. Given his chance to stake his place after Ian Hendon's departure, he got the winner. Oldham only partially able to clear, and Hughes struck it so cleanly. Gabbiadini. And Forrester's in here and scores. The old 1-2, very simple. And Jamie Forrester gives the Cobblers the lead. Credit Gabbiadini for the quality of the through ball. And it split the defence. Poor old John Dreyer really caught. And they lead 1-0. Forrester. Still going. Still going! What about that from Jamie Forrester? A super strike from a player of real quality. There didn't seem to be too much on. He looked up, saw what the options were, and thought, OK, if it has to be plan B, it has to be plan B. And has he hit a better one than that this season? 2-0 Northampton. Now Gabbiadini. Oh, he's hit the bar. And Perez looked in despair. Cambridge have pushed forward at every opportunity, but they haven't found anything to really threaten Northampton. They have now, but it's surely too late. And the league table made good reading. The away form particularly good for Northampton, 24 points and 7th place, as Rotherham United came to Sixfields. An eventful match, but not one of Northampton's better days. Hodge for Forrester. Hunt takes aim and puts wide. Guy Branston of Rotherham was sent off in the first half of this match. But despite being a man down, they took advantage of the empty net to go a goal up. Rotherham, of course, one of the other promoted teams. And a year to the day after Rotherham had been at Sixfields, it was the first home defeat of the year. Despite that effort, well saved by their goalkeeper. Northampton fired blanks. Late on, they continued to press forward, and Forrester's header, again well saved by the Rotherham keeper, who played an absolute blinder. There was no way past. It was just one of those days. Every team has them. You just have to put them in the history books and carry on. And the carry on was a match against Colchester United at Layer Road. Kevin Broadhurst, the assistant manager, had left by mutual consent 2 days before this. The injury crisis was getting worse, just 16 fit professionals, and a casualty list that really was enormous. Despite that, Northampton rolled up their sleeves and battled. The first goal of what turned out to be an excellent performance, you guessed it, Jamie Forrester. That was his 11th goal of the season, and the points made safe as John Hodge down the right and Stephen Howard did the rest. It was over the line despite Colchester's protests, and the Eastern Derby was won by the men from Northampton. Hodge getting past his man, that was the crucial moment, and Howard will always fancy his chances from there, and the goalkeeper could do nothing about it. This is Hodge. Forrester, and it doesn't seem right to see them in yellow in front of their home supporters, and that's well blocked again. He might try his luck, and James Hunt always prepared to take the responsibility. And it was a well-struck one as well. And the goalkeeper, well, just over. And it's come for Kavanagh. And it's 1-0 Stoke. Benefited from the knockdown. And it's into the back of the net. Howard. Good work again. This is Forrester. And another one. It's his 12th. And it's equalised. And Stoke City see their lead disappear with an excellent goal from Jamie Forrester. Doesn't half hit them well with his right foot. Stoke have come to make a game of it. And that's Hope. Oh dear. Hope has turned to despair for Northampton. There was absolutely nothing he could do. Now Hodge. Howard is arriving. Howard is arriving, and the ball's arrived in the net. It's 2-2. And for the second time in the match, Northampton have squared it. Great cross, but look at this. He's coming in, and Kavanagh's not got to him. He's looking at the ball, and it's 2 each. We've included the visit of Bournemouth to Northampton for the sake of the record. And those of you who watched it will probably understand why there was no other reason really to include it. Kevin Wilson described it as the worst performance of the year, and there was no one inside the Sixfield Stadium wearing a Northampton shirt who would disagree. Jermaine Defoe, on loan to the Cherries from West Ham, scored twice, caused all sorts of problems, And Northampton simply couldn't handle him at all. A miserable afternoon. Again, it's what you call acclimatisation to life in a higher league. You don't meet a foe named Defoe every week. The writing was well on the wall by the time Bournemouth got their third, in a match that was hardly seen as the ideal warm-up for Northampton's FA Cup matters against Brickley. It was 3-0 and Bournemouth had won in style. Next, the FA Cup. When you're at home, all the pressure is on you in matches of this nature. And this is Jamie Forrester. And this is John Frayne. And it's 1-0. And the delight mixed with a sense of relief. You get the first goal, and you know what the script normally is. Forrester, so often, of course, the scorer. This time, turning provider. And that's a sweet left foot from John Frayne. Target is Howard. And it is Howard. And this is Forrester. And it's 2. Assisted in the first and executed the second, Jamie Forrester. And that's not a bad ball either. Now for Forrester. Trying to close down his man, he hasn't succeeded! Oh! What about that? Give this boy 2 feet. And it's 6 yards. Hargreaves and Forrester combining again here. This is Hargreaves. And he's made a mess of that. A chance for Hunt. Round 2, no question. And Hunt completes it in style. It was an excellent performance by Northampton. The pressure's always on the league team in such circumstances. But Jamie Forrester's goal the highlight. And where have we said that before?
What's your main aim for the rest of the season, and just to stay fit and keep playing, or have you set any number of goal targets?
No, obviously stay fit, keep playing well hopefully, and get as many goals as possible.
You're in your first full season at Northampton. You've gone on record as saying this is the happiest you've been. Obviously looking forward to another 2.5 successful years.
Yeah, that's what I've got left in my contract, and like I say, I'm very happy here and just want to keep playing for Northampton.
How vital to the team plan was signing Jamie in the summer?
Well, Jamie's been magnificent. I was going to say, and his goals have only proved that. The goals that helped us last year to get us promotion within the team framework. But the way he started this season, he's done extremely well, and that's really looking at him. He's been bright, he's been positive, sharp and lively, and his goals have been a massive boost.
so let's take stock. Mid-November, 7th place, 8 wins, 28 points, just one off the playoffs.
Overall, would you have taken the position in the league at the end of November, way back in August?
Of course you would. You know, being in the top half of the league, you know, believing that we're 9th now and got 28 points, and I don't think we've been, you know, shown up on our journeys anywhere, or, you know, nobody's really come and been, you know, that much better than us. Maybe Walsall have done a lot better, but as I've always said, that was going to be a good yardstick after them being in two divisions apart the year before. So, you know, it was a good yardstick, and it shows us how we've got to go on and improve from there.